Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're unwrapping something, something that puzzles many of us, something deep within the English language itself.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been caught off guard by a word that just looks like it should rhyme with another one, but then it absolutely doesn't?
Uh-huh. All the time.
Or, stumbled over pronunciations that seem to defy all logic, like pewty and sea key. You're definitely not alone there.
Definitely not.
That's precisely what we're exploring today. Our main source is a truly fascinating poem. It hilariously leans into these delightful peculiarities of English pronunciation, and we'll also get into anecdotes about its brilliant author, too.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable, isn't it, how this source immediately taps into such a universal, sort of relatable experience. That frustration or maybe amusement with English pronunciation.
Right.
So our mission for this deep dive is maybe not just to highlight these familiar traps, but to understand why embracing these quirks is actually key to appreciating the language in all its, chaotic glory.
Okay, so the poem. It dives right into this common linguistic frustration, starting with those classic pairs like pooty and CUT. It really validates that feeling of exasperation, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, and that immediately brings up the question, why does English have so many inconsistencies? I mean, the poem shows the effect beautifully,
Yeah.
but the root cause is really English's incredibly layered history.
Okay.
It's built on Old English foundations, then piled high with Norman French, Latin, Norse.
Wow.
And they all brought their own spelling, their own pronunciation rules. And over centuries, sounds changed, but the spellings often got, kind of fossilized.
Oh, okay.
Which leads to this, delightful unpredictability we still deal with today.
So the poet starts by almost like winking at you, the reader, asking, I take it you already know. Of tough and bow and cough and dough.
Right.
Others may stumble, but not you.
Yeah.
On hiccup, thorough, laugh and through, well done.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a playful challenge right from the beginning.
It is, yeah. And that initial flattery, it's clever, it sets a welcoming tone, acknowledges the difficulty, but also kind of draws you in. It's about recognizing these familiar traps, those words where the spelling and the sound just go in completely different directions, and inviting you to share the poet's own, maybe, bemusement.
And then it hits you with some really deceptive examples. The poem explicitly warns us to beware of herd, a dreadful word that looks like beard and sounds like bird. And then adds, and dead. It's like bade, for goodness sake, don't call it deed.
It's amazing how those specific lines just expose the visual deception, where your eyes totally trick your ears.
Totally.
And the poem expands on that, showing how meat and great and threat surprisingly rhyme with sweet and straight and dead.
Which makes no sense visually.
None at all. It's really a masterclass in highlighting how unpredictable English sounds can be. Seemingly unrelated words suddenly line up and related ones just don't.
The poem keeps throwing these curveballs too, showing that a moth is not a moth in mother, nor both in bother, broth in brother.
Yeah, and that bit, it deepens our understanding. It's not just about words that look alike anymore.
Right.
It shows how even within, say, related word families, or words with similar consonant patterns, the sounds can just shift dramatically. We see it again with, and here is not a match for there, nor dear and fear for bear and pear.
It's like the rules change mid-sentence.
Exactly, almost like that.
And then the poet just kind of goes for it, reeling off this whole list of words defying expectations, does and rows and lose, and goose and choose. It also brings up cork in front and word, and font in front and word and sword, even do and go and thwart and cart. It's like they're saying, come, I've hardly made a start.
Huh. That's the poet just reveling in the chaos, isn't it?
Seemed like it.
These examples, they just illustrate the sheer variety of sounds and spellings English has, often with, very little rhyme or reason from a purely phonetic view. You have words like bow, pronounced bow.
Right. Contrasting with thwart, which is thwat. It's just a wild ride for anyone trying to learn the rules.
The poet's playful exasperation really comes through when they mockingly ask, a dreadful language, only to immediately quip, man alive, I'd mastered it when I was 5.
Yeah, that blend of humor and self-awareness, it's perfect.
So what does all this mean? Beyond the humor and the shared frustration, the poem offers this really profound insight. To fully appreciate the uniqueness of a language, we must take pleasure in its peculiarities. But what does taking pleasure in linguistic chaos actually look like? And how might that change how we approach learning or speaking English?
Well, that's the core of it, I think. Shaw wasn't just, pointing things out. He was inviting us to engage with language in a different way.
Right.
Think about his play Pygmalion. He meticulously dissects how just a single sound, or maybe the lack of it, can totally determine someone's social standing.
Ah, good point.
So for Shaw, these peculiarities, they aren't flaws. They're the very fabric of identity and communication, and they're steeped in history. Right.
So embracing them means understanding that language isn't just about static rules. It's about a living, breathing history of sounds, influences. It's finding joy in the unexpected, seeing the stories hidden in every, irregular pronunciation.
In this brilliant poem, it was penned by George Bernard Shaw. It feels so perfectly him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
His famous plays so often hinge on these nuances of language and accent.
Absolutely. Shaw, Irish playwright, critic, staunch socialist, born in 1856, lived right up to 1950. And he used his sparkling wit and humor, as the source says, not just for laughs, but to really dissect important social issues.
Yeah.
This poem is just a perfect example of his distinct style, using humor to reveal some deeper truth about society, or, well, in this case, about language itself.
Yeah.
He really understood that language, with all its quirks, is such a powerful social marker.
He truly was a master of words. And not just on the stage, apparently. Shaw is described as perhaps the only writer to have won both the Nobel Prize for Literature, which he got in 1925, and an Oscar.
That's right. And the Oscar was for his play Pygmalion, which, of course, was famously enacted into the film My Fair Lady.
Incredible.
It really highlights his incredible versatility, doesn't it? His impact across different art forms. And his other well-known plays, like Arms and the Man, Major Barbara, Man and Superman, Caesar and Cleopatra, they all show off that sharp intellect, his fascination with how people communicate and miscommunicate.
So this deep dive into Shaw's playful poem, it really highlights how English, despite all its seeming inconsistencies, is just brimming with personality. It's not just about what words mean, but how they feel when you say them, or even when you just try to say them, and all that rich history embedded in every strange pronunciation.
Yeah, and that idea of taking pleasure in its peculiarities, that's such a powerful shift in perspective, isn't it?
It really is.
It encourages us to kind of lean into the delightful chaos of the language rather than fighting against it. We've seen how centuries of influence have shaped words like herd to sound different from beard or dead from bead. We've explored how meat, great, and threat surprisingly line up with sweet, straight, and debt, totally defying the visual logic.
And marveled at those unrhyming pairs like moth and mother, or here and there.
Exactly.
So this brings up an important question for you, the listener, to consider. How might embracing this humorous, often illogical nature of English pronunciation, seeing it as a feature, maybe, not a bug, how might that change your own experience with the language? Perhaps even making you a bit more forgiving of those inevitable linguistic stumbles we all make.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If truly mastering English isn't really about perfect adherence to some set of rules, but maybe more about developing this deep, playful intimacy with its beautiful and often baffling inconsistencies.
A wonderful thought to ponder as you continue to navigate the wonderfully peculiar world of English.